Hey everyone, I've got what I think will be a pretty easy job today. My elderly neighbor came by, said, I've got a drill, I hear you fix them. And he said he stopped using this drill about 20 years ago because it gave him a shock through the handle. And he asked if I could fix it. And, he said, if you can fix it, you can keep it. I guess the implication there is if I can't fix it, he wants it back. I don't think that's what he meant. But I'm going to fix it, and I'll just give it back to him. I don't think it's going to take long. I told him I'd have it back to him in a few hours. Let's see what we can do. But first, let's see what we've got to work with. So this is interesting. I've never worked on one of these. I don't know much about it. It's a Skil Model 598. Hopefully the switch is good. It's got a rather complex switching mechanism. I guess that's reverse. It's adjustable trigger speed control, which I think is this knob. Trigger locks. That all works. The cord is clearly bad. I guess that's probably why he got a shock to it. My guess is this is from the 1980s. I wouldn't guess it's much newer. I'm not going to repaint it. The paint looks decent enough to save. And, I guess I'll clean up the chuck after I rewire it. It looks like it comes apart fairly easily. A couple of Phillips, and this plate comes off, and I should have access to the cord right there. All right. So that's our task. We're gonna get it back to him in a couple hours. Let's get busy. So my first observation is this screw looks like it's been stripped. Someone may have tried to take it apart before. This one looks okay. So I gotta be very careful that I'm using the proper screwdriver for this type of screw. Yeah. Okay. Let's hope this guy lets go. Yep. Oh. Well, they weren't the easiest to come out, but we got them. I'm holding the handle together while I do this because I really don't know what's going to come apart when I let go. This is an interesting switch mechanism. If the switch itself is bad, yeah, I'm not going to be able to get one of these. These triggers, I'm sure, aren't available. Could hardwire it, I guess, but okay. All right. Well, this. Oh, okay. All right, these look good. Got a weird powder on them. The brushes. Yeah, the brushes are okay. They're not too worn. This is not good, this cable. So, it's not even good up here. It's very dry. I don't see where it's cracked, but it's very dry. But interestingly, I don't see where he got a shock through the body. I don't see that. Because everything seems fine. I guess it's possible that something's going on in the strain relief itself. Let's peel this back and let's untwist this. Let's see what's going on here. You can see how old this cord is. The insulation on the individual wires seems good. Oh, there's a little, oh, there's a crack. Okay, there is a little crack on the white. But with this, maybe he got a shock through the cord and he perceived it through the body. Anyway, we don't have a lot of wire to work with, I'll tell you that right now. We have very little. This is about an inch. So we've got to be very careful with this because this strain relief isn't going to come off. The white wire, we've got a little more to work with. The green wire is not going to be a problem, but connecting back to this is going to be tricky. We got to be real careful and save every 1/8 of an inch of wire like that. All right. Let me get some cutters and let's see if we can get to work on this. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to cut this and pull through the strain relief to give me just a little bit of extra wire, because it's pretty tight. Let's see if we can pull one through. We can probably pull them all through. Well, it took the insulation off, but we pulled it through. That may give us a little more room. Let's pull the green through. So it also pulled the insulation off the green. Interesting. Well, let's see what it does to the black. It did with the black as well. Interesting. So maybe there was a short going on in here. Be neat if I could reuse this strain relief. That will take quite a bit of effort, I think. But let me grab some pliers. Let me see if I can pull some things out. If not, we're just going to attach. But now we have enough wire here. This is stripped and ready to go. We're going to need a new green wire. We got the other cable here. Let's cut it. I'm going to cut it beyond this label because I don't feel like I'm going to get that off with all the glue. And will it fit through here? It will. Will it fit all the way? I don't know. It goes in. Okay. Something a little stronger. The rest of the cord out and see. Well, I mean, that was a long shot that we'd be able to reuse this strain relief, but there you go. You never know sometimes. All right. So let's pull it down far enough that it's out of our way. And let's commence with rewiring. Okay, so we've got a wire to here. So I'm gonna need about that much. Maybe less. I mean, realistically, I need to go so very gently Do not press on here. We're just trying to cut through the outer insulation. So I'm really just spinning it around and letting the blades, the stripper blades, just cut into the black. I don't want to cut any deeper than that. And just keep an eye on it. I can kind of see a little bit through. We're not all the way through yet, but if I go around a couple more times, we'll be through the outer insulation. It will take a little bit of effort to get it to come out. We're through, we're through. We're not quite through. Close. There we go. All right, we need a small ring connector for that. First, let's do the green wire. Let me get the ring connectors. Okay. We want a very small one here, and we really don't need the insulation on this guy. We're not going to have a lot of room the way this handle closes, but we'll try it first. We're a little long. Okay, so it's a red crimp, so we're going to use red on the crimpers. We're good. Now, we're going to have to shrink tube these guys. We're going to have to solder and shrink tube. There's really no way around it. It does not look like there's a way to get into this switch at all. I will make a mental note that this black, let me get a close up here, I'm going to show you. Maybe this is where the short came through the handle. Look at that. So let me see if I can get the camera to shoot it. So see, right, get something to point with. See the exposed wire there? Right in there is exposed wire. So that's a job for the shrink tubing and the liquid electrical tape. The white wire does not appear to be doing that, at least not to that degree. But we'll definitely be sealing that out. Don't want that. I don't think that was a problem. Could be. Who knows? I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know why I stripped these at that length. They're clearly going to be far too long. Okay, so proper way to twirl these is to make them wrap around each other. Not just one wrapping around the other. Make them wrap around each other. And again, pretty straightforward. White goes to white, black goes to black. Okay. I'm going to bend them in this direction, away from the shrink tubing, because I don't want to close up my shrink tube and I won't be able to get it on top of that, and that would be a problem. Although I'm very close, so it's going to be a little tricky. My ancient solder paste that never seems to want to open. It's just all right. Okay. They're soldered. I don't think we wrecked the shrink tubing, though we came really close. Let me let that cool off for a minute before I try to pull the shrink tubing back over it. The slippery stuff. Okay, we can trim this down a little bit. See if I can grab it. It's slippery now. I just gotta grab it and pull it over it. I used very small shrink tubing for this, and probably it would have been easier had I just used a bigger size that would slide over it a little bit easier. Oh, we got it over white. Let's see if we can do the same with black. Close up my angle here. All right, we're over black. Okay, I just got to get the heat gun. Let's shrink that up. As an added precaution on these wires on the switch that have a little bit of exposed contacts, I'm going with my liquid electrical tape. I gotta find a way to put it on there. Put a little here. This kind of is a catch for the cable. All right, let's slide our strain relief up. Not too far, obviously. Make sure we are able to bend our cables out of the way. Let's put our ground fastener back on. Like how that's gonna pull. So we're gonna bend this back. So this will be a bit more out of the way. Drain relief. I'm going to put a little bit of oil in there. Overall, there's not much cleanup to do with this thing. I think this drill had a fairly easy life. Didn't see a lot of usage. I'm using dry lube, which is motor lubricant. Don't use WD-40. You'll hear me say it in every video. Don't use WD-40 in your motors. I'm just using this to kind of clean out some of the dirt. It really doesn't need it. There's very little dirt in there. A little bit came out. Normally I'd use contact cleaner, but this is really not dirty. All right, so the rear bearing here, which is right in here, gonna put some 30 weight oil on that. And let that sink in. Pretty good. All right, let's see. Last sanity check on the wiring. Everything looks good. Let's see if the cover will go on as it is with this wire up there. If it's in the way. It seems to be in the way just a bit. Okay. Good. I'm gonna wire brush these real quick, just for, you know, cleaning the whole thing up. So did not put my gloves on. It just makes them look a little brighter in the housing. Make sure our switch is positioned correctly. It doesn't seem like it can be positioned any other way than it is. Sure, strain leaves right, switch is right, switch works like that. Seems to. Put these guys back in. I'm not tightening them just yet. I want to check the alignment of the switch. It looks a little wonky here, but it doesn't seem to move inside the housing. So let's look. No, that's good. Okay, so we'll make it to they're both snug. And now we'll tighten them. And now, so to grease it, change the grease, we got to do this. But before we do that, let's test it, because we can do that. We're wired. Be able to see if everything works. It's been a while, 20 years. Reverse. Ooh, it sounds like it's got a strong motor. It does work. That's good. All right. Let's look at greasing it. I have to get a different screwdriver when I put these back in. Let's give it the poke test. See how hard this grease is. Yeah, it's pretty much not really doing its job anymore. Look at that, like that. It's just a big dried piece. The gears look good. As I said, I don't think this saw a lot of use. Let me get a bag to scoop the grease into and my grease gun. All right, I just like to just scoop this stuff out and drop it directly into a bag like that. I just noticed there's a washer right here that I moved, and there's a couple of washers on this thing. I'm glad they didn't come off, so I know how to put them back together. All right, let's pump some grease in there. I'm not going to wipe this down too much because I don't want to lose track of where those washers are. Oh, look at the bearings. Look at that. All right, let me see, give it a close up at that. You don't usually see it like this, but you can see very clearly the bearings right in there. Wild. And they look fine. See how much grease I've got in this thing. I always think this is going to run out, and then it doesn't. I've been using this same tube of grease for like 2-3 years now. This is just regular axle grease. Feels like it's getting close to the end. You don't have to be very precise on this. All right, so you just want to turn it and get the grease kind of worked in, and make sure that it goes where your gears are. And if this thing ever runs hot, not only will this grease save it, but it'll soften up and it'll melt right into this. I don't know how much use this thing will see in the future. Probably not as much as it's seen, and that doesn't seem like it was a lot. Okay, so with our washers in place here, we're going to very carefully put this thing, I'm going to very carefully put this thing back where it goes. Just want the washers perfectly centered, so we can just drop this right on like that. Oh, I like it when things just seem to work out. Good. Yep, we're good. It turns. A couple. There. I didn't clean these screws up. Now you watch. Now's when something's going to go wrong. I want to hold this thing exactly as it is. I don't want it to fall over. Do something heavier. There you go. All right, let me clean these up one at a time. So as per usual, I'm putting them down. I'm not even snugging them yet. I'm going to do one at a time. Okay, all four down. Little bit of snug, little bit of snug, snug. Okay, snug, tight. Tight, tight, tight. Okay. Let's give it a second test. Run it and get the grease kind of swirled around in it. wired. We gotta oil the chuck. But before I oil the chuck, I'm gonna go over to the wire brush. I'm going to do my patented chuck cleaning method. Patented by Mr. Chuck Clean. And all I do for that is I'm going to run the drill while the wire brush goes around it. All right, now we can clearly read the chuck. It is a rigid Supreme chuck, as are so many of these. Let's, wow, this thing needs some oil though. It does need some oil in there. All right, let's oil this chuck up. All right, so pretty easy to oil these things up. Put some oil in here. Put some oil around here. Let it run in. We're going to put some in here as well. And then just work it a few times. Let the oil get in there. Smooth. Now you can see. Before it took effort just to move it. Now it moves like nothing. Nice, real nice. All right, so let's think about what else we could possibly do. There is no drill chuck to this. He's probably lost it many years ago or transferred it to a drill that he was actually using. So let me see if I can find a drill chuck. This is actually, I think this is a 1/2 inch chuck. It's pretty big. Yep. Yeah, 5/64 to a 1/2 inch cap, 3/8 to 24 THD is what it says on it. So I need a key. Probably one of those keys I got in the toolbox will work. And then I'm just going to clean it up like this, whatever this was. I'm just going to take that off and just kind of probably just use foaming glass cleaner to clean it. I don't want to repaint it. So I'll be right back. So I found a chuck for it, and I found a holder. I don't know why I brushed this thing. Just wanted to take some of the rust off. There. All right, so to clean it, I've decided I'm actually just going to use cleaner wax. I'm going to see what that does, because really I don't want to just use window cleaner on it. I do want to take some of the grime off that's embedded, but I also want to be careful. So I'm just going to use this. It's got a mild abrasive in it. I don't think it'll do anything except shine it up just a little bit. It does take the dirt off right away. Yeah, it's working. This side looks a little worse. It actually does a very good job of cleaning this paint of the oiled grease stains and burn marks. And it even shines it a little bit. Scrape off as much of it as I can with my fingers first, which seems to be almost all of it actually. The cleaner wax may actually do the job that I was going to use Goo Gone for, because it's almost all of it's coming off. I don't know what was on that sticker. See if this will work. Yep, it did. It's all off. All right. Well, didn't need it. All right, I would say we're done. Wow, it still looks dirty here. It's weird. Try that again. I don't know if my hands are doing it or what. Just not coming off this side. Alright, well. So we're done. I would say it's not going to do the most impressive before and after shot, because I didn't clean up the body, but we have now got a perfectly running 1980s Skil Model 598 Type 3 1/2 inch. Well, as I said, pretty easy job today. We got our key. We got a new power cord. We even saved the strain relief, which is something I can't recall ever being able to do. But we're good. All right, that's it. Maybe an hour, hour and a half, and I brought this thing back. I'm gonna go hand deliver it to my neighbor, thank him for the opportunity. This was a learning experience. You know, I'd never done a newer one like this. Came apart pretty easy. Everything was pretty straightforward. The design hadn't changed much since even the 1940s and 50s ones I've done, other than this crazy switch, which thankfully was not a problem. So it's ready to go to work, and you know, this is a really high quality drill. This is a 1/2 inch chuck, heavy duty. You can hear the power in the motor. It's reversible. About the only thing it isn't is cordless. So if you can get around the fact that you want a cordless drill and you want a good powerful drill like this, you can usually find these for just a few dollars. And you know, if you like this type of content, like and subscribe. And if you want to rebuild a drill like this, like I said, it's pretty easy. Don't be intimidated. Just go out, get busy. Take care.